Downtown Denver became almost unrecognizable this week when protesters flooded the streets over the death of George Floyd. Business analyst Ryan Frazier is protests affect the economy and business. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Liz. Good morning, Colorado.
What a night, right? I don't know if you've seen the images of the 16th Street Mall this morning. Arcadia Eastman has been downtown since very early this morning. She saw people stealing from stores on the 16th Street Mall. We've seen similar images, of course, coming from all over our country. So the question for you is, what does this mean for these businesses as their employees wake up to find all of this damage?
Well, I think first off, let me say, Liz, that the death of George Floyd should disturb us all. All of the officers involved must be held to account, and people have every right to express their emotions. I know I was devastated by what I saw, and I certainly worry about all those people out there who we never see a video of. It's vital that these protests be peaceful to truly be effective and bring lasting change. And we need more than systemic fixes. We need cultural change in America. We have a market economy, and these protests and what these employers and businesses can and should expect and are experiencing right now is the simple reality that protests of any sort tends to disrupt an economy. Take a business that probably many of us have been to, like La Loma in downtown Denver, not too far from the 16th Street Mall. Great burritos, great food, and probably no supply issue. But when you have protests, it tends to disrupt the demand. And when you disrupt the demand, people don't want to go eat anywhere near the potential for civil unrest. And so a lot of businesses in the downtown area are probably suffering from a lack of consumers and customers willing to go down there and patronize their businesses for fear of some sort of unrest.
That's on top of the fact that the economy is already down, businesses are already struggling, and then there's all of this. So how can these businesses that have been affected by a pandemic and then this looting and all these protests bounce back?
You know, you couldn't have said it better, Liz. Our economy is on the brink of either starting to rebound or sliding further into a depression. Looting, violence, vandalism of any kind drives business away. Due to COVID-19, we're already in a precarious situation. We lost 323,000 jobs in the month of April, record unemployment, 11.3%. LinkedIn tells me that hiring in the greater Denver area is down more than 30%, and businesses are seeking billions here locally in PPP loans just to stay afloat. When you have RTD cutting services, you have patrons who are being accosted, you have windows being broken out, tourists are scared to visit. It hurts businesses, it hurts employees, and it hurts all of us as customers. And so it's very important that these protests, if they truly want to advance their message and truly drive meaningful change, that they don't take the economy down with it. They respect people's property, they respect people's businesses, and they allow folks to not only patronize these businesses, but ultimately continue their way of life and not have fear of being hurt or accosted. And again, I want to say, Liz, that it's very important to allow people to have their right to be heard. I believe that there's a lot of pent-up anger in this country, but we cannot afford to take down an economy that is struggling to find its way back so that ultimately we can recover and restore our quality of life.
And I believe Tay Anderson would most likely agree with you. He's one of the organizers of Denver's protest last night. He was urging things to remain peaceful, but obviously that didn't happen. He says that the destruction last night was not the original intent, but we do know that there are people out there who think that this is their way to be heard. And I wonder what your take is on that, Ryan.
Well, it is a way to be heard. And I think protests can bring about meaningful change when done right. You have to remember that when you resort to violence and looting and vandalism, a lot of people tend to turn away. They tend to stop listening. And so your ability to affect change is diminished and your message is diminished. And so it's important for all these protesters who are out there who believe that we have to change the system, that we have to change the culture in America, that they understand that doing so peacefully and ultimately having a message that talks about how we solve the problem, not just, the problem itself, is what's going to best move things forward. And Liz, I will say this, we have a lot to be excited about here in Colorado, in the greater Denver area. We have a beautiful state, a great quality of life. LinkedIn tells me that Denver's fundamentals are sound. It's still a place people want to be and to come to. Forbes cited the Denver area as one of the cities best positioned to recover from the coronavirus economically. But we have to remember that even through these tough times, our economy is critical to our livelihoods and our quality of life. That together we can come through this stronger, more prosperous, and we can change society for the better. But we cannot ultimately hurt our business owners in the process.
Yeah, we have this conversation as business owners right now are cleaning up on the 16th Street Mall after looting there. All right, Ryan, really appreciate your perspective and your input. Thanks for joining us this morning.